Hi everyone, Ryan here from Fight Game Analysis, and today we're going to be talking about the fight that just wrapped up between Gervonta Davis and Rolly Romero. But before we jump into that, if you've been enjoying the content, please go ahead and click on the like button and also subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate your support. Alright, so just last night, we finally got to see the fight pop off, originally scheduled for like December of 2021, got delayed, but we got it. And let's be honest with each other, we got the outcome that most of us expected to get. Most of us expected to see Gervonta Davis go out there and score a brutal KO over Romero. And that's exactly what he delivered. Sixth round, catches him with a beautiful counter left hand. And look, if it wasn't for the ropes being there, he would have face planted, possibly went out of the ring. Just a great shot. Just a beautiful, beautiful shot. And one of the things that I thought that was most interesting about it was what he said in the post-fight interview. They're interviewing Tank and he says, man, I didn't even put a lot into it. I didn't even throw that shot with the bad intentions, with trying to tear his head off. I more placed it. And I believe him. We all know how much he punches. He's got no reason to come out there and try to oversell his abilities to knock somebody out. He's been doing it for a long time. But it just goes to prove the point. It's the punch that you don't see that gives it to you, right? It's the punch that you don't see that does the most damage. And I get that you're thinking, how are you saying it's the punch that you don't see when Gervonta Davis said he didn't put a lot into it? But my point is this. When you're in there fighting a guy, if he gets the shot off so quick and so easy that he doesn't even put a lot into it, it probably means there wasn't a lot of tell on it, which probably means that his opponent didn't see it coming. And then when you look back at the replay in slow-mo, you can see the way Rolly Romero came in. He was kind of square. He threw that right hand. He was a little bit too squared up, looking to land the left, brought his right hand back down low, and Tank just went right over the top with that left and got it. So highly doubt that he saw that one coming, especially when you see the amount of damage that it did. So hats off to Gervonta Davis. Now, look, this fight was interesting from the start, though, because I do want to say this. Even though I expected the outcome of Romero to go in there and end up knocked out, and that's what we got, I also got to give credit where credit's due, and he looked better than I thought he would. When he came out, so they come out in the first round, and it's pretty much just a lot of posing. Pretty much just a lot of looking at each other, right? Not really too much action happened at all. Neither one of these guys are known as volume punchers, but that round was particularly slow. And you got to figure that it's because each man respects the other man's power. Both of them know that they can go out there, and if you just make one mistake, if you just land one shot, you just get one shot landed on you that's wrong, it could be lights out, right? A lot of build-up to this fight. Very important. Nobody wants to go in there in the first round and get caught cold. Second round, you start to see a little bit more, right? And actually what we saw was Rolly Romero starting to pick it up. He was using the jab a little bit. He was keeping the distance a little bit better than I thought he would. Wasn't crowding his work. Wasn't trying to get too beastie and too crazy early. But he went out there and he landed a few shots, man. Landed a left on Tank up against the ropes. Landed a right hand a little bit later on. Gervonta countered as well. It became very apparent in the second round that what his game plan was to maintain distance and to wait for Romero to make a mistake so that he could counter and catch him. Right? Pretty obvious what we see here. We got Rolly Romero going forward, attempting to be aggressive and land hard shots. Everything has bad intentions on it. Not really using too many setups, feints, nothing like that. Going out there trying to tear his head off. But he's doing it in a little bit more controlled than I thought. His punches were a little bit tighter than I thought, so looked a little bit better, and he was actually seeing some success. So yeah, by the second round, Tank was getting a few shots off here and there as a counter, but that was a round that I would have gave to Rolly. So then we come out in the third round, and it's kind of the same. Pretty much the same, except it starts to shift a little bit. Instead of Rolly Romero doing the majority of the good work and Tank just landing a few shots, it shifts a little. Right now we see Tank doing a little bit more good work, and we see Rolly doing a little bit less. All in the same vein, though, in the sense that Romero's still coming forward. Romero's still being the aggressor. He's still keeping the distance and trying to work behind things. Gervonta Davis is landing single shot counters. And look, you may think, well, he should have been throwing combinations and he should have been doing more, this and that. And it's like, you can't do that against the puncher, man. When you throw combinations as a counter, that means that you're there to be hit as well. Because you can't hit the man unless you're there to be hit. You can't hit him. You can't be in range to hit him unless you're in range to be hit. So the longer you stick around in that pocket, the longer you stick around in that range, the more potential damage could get done to you, right? That's when you open yourself up. So early in the fight, guy's still aggressive. He's got a lot of energy. He's strong. And let's be honest, when you look at the footage from this fight, when you look at the film, man, Rolly Romero looks big. He looks strong. He came into this one, and you can see the size difference when they're standing next to each other right away. So yeah, you want to play it cool in the first few rounds, man. You want to be easy. But that's when we started to see the shift happen. And then, by the fourth round, we actually saw Gervonta Davis start to lead. We saw him start to come forward a little bit, saw him start to lead with that left hand, started to get that left hand off, work behind the jab a couple times, started to land a few body shots. And then from there it all built, man, until we finally got to the 6th round. And it was just an absolute beautiful counter left hand off the ropes. Closed the show, end of the night. Rolly Romero was out of there, man. Like, he was so confused, he was so dazed that even as didn't stick around in the ring for any kind of post-fight interviews or anything like that, immediately was like, hey, get me out of here. Boom. Jumps through the ropes, starts to walk off. He still looks dazed, still looks confused, like he's feeling the effects from that punch on the walk back to the dressing room. That's how much power he landed with, right? That's how devastating of a puncher Gervonta Davis is, you know? And then in the post-fight interview, right, we think, okay, big win here. We expected it. Odds reflected what we thought was going to happen here. But what's next? I loved what the announcing team said, man. I don't remember who specifically said it, but I loved what the announcing team said. And I'm paraphrasing here, but he said, Gervonta Davis has evolved. He's no longer like just a guy with the belt. The man's a true champion. He comes out there and he's consistently delivered. He's consistently evolved his game. He's continually getting better. He's faced different challenges, fighters that present different obstacles and different wrinkles and all of these. And he's come out there and always delivered. He doesn't look good and then get an excuse. He doesn't look good and let the success go to his head and then come out and underperform. Right? Fights through adversity with the left hand injury that he saw against Isaac Cruz. You know, saw some stiff competition from him and still found a way to persevere and come out with the W. Like, that's what happens, man. That's what happens. You're not going to go out there and look like an absolute world beater showstopper every single fight. But you are expected to figure out ways to win. And that's what he did. So I'm really glad that the announcing team, recognized that and acknowledged that as the way that the man's growing in his career, because it's great. So they asked him in the post-fight, what's next? And he does what he always does, which I'm totally cool with. Gervonta Davis, in all of his interviews and the way that he talks, particularly post-fight, he always places himself at the lead as the lead dog, right, top of the pack, and good for him in the way that he presents that, man, because it's all about the image and the spin and the marketing. So he puts himself as the lead dog, and he does that by not calling other people out. Because when you're really truly the man, when you are the guy who's at the absolute front, how does it look with you turning around calling out people who are ranked underneath you, or who are not perceived as best as you, or as challengers, or guys who are coming up? That's not the way it's supposed to work. The guys who are coming up are supposed to call you out. They're supposed to look good. They're supposed to earn the shot. So whether or not you believe Gervonta Davis is the man at 135 pounds or not, it's kind of irrelevant. We're talking about the way that he presents himself, the image that he projects, the way that he does things. That's how he, tells his story to the media every time he gets the chance. So I appreciate that and I like it. And he did the same thing here. Right? Said, hey, look, I'm here, man. This Glock ain't got no safety. I'm ready to get it up with whoever wants to have any get in the ring and make this happen. We can do it. That being said, I do remember an interview that he did before the fight with Brian Custer when he said that he was interested in the winner between Haney and Kambosos. He expects Haney to win. Haney comes out with that victory. He said that he's interested in making that fight happen, which, good for him. Good for him. It's not very often when we see young guys in their prime face each other. So should Haney come out with the victory in that fight, he's the favorite for a reason. But should Haney come out with the victory in that fight, a fight between him and Gervonta Davis, I mean, let's be honest, man, that would be absolute fireworks. I mean, that would be, we would the pre-fight, at least, in the build-up to that one, we would be thinking about that, my guess, in the way that we were thinking about it pre-fight in the build-up to Leonard Hearns 1. Right, you think about all the intrigue behind Sugar Ray Leonard versus Tommy Hearns in their first fight and the build up to that, where each man was in his career, their age, how they looked, what we thought about their futures, what they had already, the accolades they had already received. And then you think about a fight between Gervonta Davis and Devin Haney and how that one would be a build up in somewhat the same way. Man, I think it would be great. Now, we have no idea whether or not that's going to happen. We obviously see that this isn't a fight that's been talked about. 0 negotiations have taken place. Man, Devin Haney's got a fight next week. That he's got a real fighter in front of him that he's got to worry about. So, he needs to get past that one first. But I thought it was interesting the way Gervonta Davis continually plays everything. So, let me know what you guys think. What did you think of this fight? Did you appreciate the work that Gervonta Davis did? How he played it back, how he laid back at first, kind of waited it out, seeing how things were going, and then as soon as he started to get the timing and the rhythm, he felt the power that Romero had. He started to open up, man. Right turn from the counterpuncher into the aggressor, only to turn it around and end the show with a beautiful counterpunch. And what do you think's next for Romero? Like I said, I thought he looked a little bit better than I expected him to see going out here. Takes about 6 months off, 9 months off, or whatever, heals up, gets back in camp, continues to work and grow. He's a young guy. What's next for him? Is there anybody else that, I'd say top 5 at 135 that you think he can be? Let me know what you guys think.